everyone! Welcome to Nature Crafts with Angel. That's me, I'm Angel Ehlers. And today we're going to make another very simple craft from some natural materials. And this one is made to help you celebrate one of the important holidays in February. And that is Valentine's Day. So oftentimes people might make or buy something to give to their Valentine, but today we're going to teach you how to make something straight from the heart. And it is a heartstring craft. You'll need a piece of wood, and we actually gathered a bunch of pieces of wood because we found a fallen tree up that way off the Blue Trail that fell during one of the recent tropical storms last year. And we sliced it up into about 1 inch thick sections in the garage, and then we sanded it and made them nice and smooth and ready to work. So with just a few different materials, including the wood, some nails, and some string, you'll be able to make your very own heartstring craft to give to your loved one, your family member, or maybe even keep it for yourself because you love it so much and you love yourself so much. So follow us along, just a few simple steps to make this string heart craft. Now that we know what we're going to make, let's talk about some of the different materials that we'll need to get together to make this really cool string craft. So come in a little closer, we'll talk about each one. You need to start with a nice piece of wood, at least 1 inch thick, so that it can accommodate the length of the nails. We got ours from the Greenbelt, like we said, but you can get yours from a craft store or even from your own backyard. You'll also need a pencil to make the mark of your heart on your wood. Next, you'll need some nails or some tacks. Make sure they're at least 1/2 inch long so that you have space to string your string through. You'll of course need a hammer to hammer in your nails and tacks. You'll need a pair of scissors also to cut some of your various different strings. You may want one color string or lots of colors of string. I think I'm going to use several, but you can do whatever you'd like. You can use different colors and shades and styles of string, whatever you would like. The very first thing we're going to do is grab up our pencil, make sure it has a nice sharp point so that we can draw our heart on our wood. You can make it however big or small you'd like, but I'd suggest that if your wood is about this thick, about 6 inches or so, that you might want to cover a good deal of it, but don't go too close to the edges. You want to make sure that you have enough space so that when you put your string through, you can see all the pretty designs that you're making. So you can just gently make an outline of a heart. If you mess up, it's totally fine. You can use your eraser or just kind of draw it where you meant to put it. Once you have your heart here, it'll be time to go to the next step. So I am happy with my outline now. And my very next step is I'm going to get some of my nails. And like I said, make sure that they are about 1/2 inch thick so that once you've hammered them in, there's enough space for them to have the string go through them. I'm going to have to take off my gloves for this one because these nails are a little small. What you're going to do is you're going to be very careful. You may want adult supervision for this because we are going to get a nice big heavy hammer and we want to make sure that your little fingers do not get hurt. So we're going to start by placing the first nail right in the middle. I'm going to start in the middle of the top of my heart and gently hammer it. There's no reason to do a big hammering. We're only going through a little bit. You can come in and see that I didn't go so very deep in there. There's no reason. It's not a structural nail. It's just there to hold some string. So once you start that, you can go around in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction, making sure that you hammer in one nail for each about 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit less. Make sure you stay on your line. And also, very important, as you're hammering, make sure that each nail is hammered to about the same level so that the heads of the nails are at the same place. you realize that you put one of your nails in and it was so far off of the line, the guideline of your heart? Totally fine. Your claw of your hammer should be just fine at pulling it out. And since you're not hammering it in very deep, that should be really easy to do. You can just try it again. Now that we have successfully made an outline of a heart with our tiny little nails, it's time to add the string. Like I said, you can pick any color or style of string. You want it to be kind of a consistent shape, so something like this that is the same throughout the length of string would be great, but something like this that has some cute little flair and barbs and extra decorations inside also might be really cool. I'm gonna start off with the blue, and what you're gonna do is start off with a really long length of string because you don't know exactly how much string you're going to want, and you might not want to have to add string to a smaller piece. So if you have a spool of string, just keep it connected, but if you have a length of string, just start with the end. And what we're going to do is start with just tying a knot, very simple square knot to the bottom nail. It doesn't have to be super, super tight, because this is not going to be a very tight string. Once you go through, you can leave that little tail there. We can tuck it in later and snip it off. But what we're going to do is start by outlining our heart. That's going to be our first step with the string. So you're going to go to your next nail and do a simple loop around it to move on to the next nail. And again, just a simple loop so that you're securing the string and making sure that the outline of your heart really stands out. These are not being tied, they're just being looped. And as you go, you can also use your pencil to push them down so that you're still leaving some length on that nail to get more string through there. Now what I'm gonna do here at the very end, because I have this tail from the last piece, is I'm actually gonna tie the end of this string to that tail so that we know that it is nice and secure so that we can move on to the more kind of random, creative string patterns. Now that we've been able to make this outline of string for our heart and secure it with a knot, now we can get real crafty. And I wanted to show you how there are a few different options here. You can either make a really random design and just go from one nail to the other nail across the heart with no rhyme or reason to it. Or you can do something a little more pattern-like and predictable by just going across your heart. And if you did this, then you could come through later and make perpendicular lines from top to bottom, but it's really up to you. You can also mix and match. So you can start with one color of string and do that very geometric design, and then come in with another color and add the really random. But what I'm gonna do, because I like that really random heartstring effect, is I'm gonna do this one and go all the way across and not count any of these or try to make it even. I'm just trying to get the string across the heart. You can decide how much string you want to use. Some people might be kind of satisfied with the way that it looks right now, right? They might say, I really like the way that you can see the shadows of the strings coming through the wood. And especially if you have one of these Greenbelt pieces of wood, you see how beautiful the design inside of this wood was. And maybe you don't want to cover that up and you just want to sort of enhance it with these strings. It's really up to you. But I am going to keep going and show you just how much string you can actually use. And if you look in, you might not know which nail to go to next, but I can see that these two nails haven't even gotten a string to them yet. So that's going to be my next spot. Once you think you have enough string, or at least enough of this string, you're going to have to tie this off again. So I'm going to go right back to that same nail, that bottom center nail, and tie it there. I finished this first layer of string on this heart, and this could be where you call it quits and you say, this is perfect and I want to give it to my Valentine just like this. And that's great. But if you're like me and you want to add just one more color or a few more colors, you're going to have to take another step. And what I wanted to show you was how you're going to have to come in with the pencil again and kind of push the strings down from the head of the nails. This will give you a little bit more space to work with. You may even find that some strings didn't quite make it over the head of the nail, and you could just use the point of the pencil to bring it to where you want it to be. And now what we'll do is I'm going to tie my red string, because it is a Valentine's Day craft after all, to the end or the tail of that last blue string. But first, before we get confused, take this little tail out. And I'm not going to add a whole lot of this red. I just wanted it to accent my heart. Now I'm just going to start doing some nice random red over this blue. Make sure I'm going across the heart. depending on your string, maybe your string's like mine, it's actually several strings all together. It might be a little more challenging to do this, which is why it's even more important to do that loop around the nail that you're attaching to before you go to the next one. And once you're all done tying your knot, you can cut your loose ends, and voila. You have your very own Greenbelt heartstring craft. And if you picked up a bag, you have it made from the heartwood of a tree that fell right here in the Greenbelt. Thank you so much for crafting along with me today. It was so much fun making this really cool string heart craft for Valentine's Day. I'm going to give it to my loved one, and I'd love to see if you guys made a craft yourself. Send us through some pictures to our email address at sigreenbelteducation@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook pages at Greenbelt Environmental Education and Greenbelt Conservancy. And of course, we have a YouTube channel at the Staten Island Greenbelt. So check out other virtual programming that we offer, and check out our events calendar at sigreenbelt.org. Thanks so much, and happy crafting!